Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a few cards with the Zany Zoo stamp set and some of the other coordinating products from the Zoo Crew suite. This is a class to go, so when you make a $35 or more purchase from my online store using this host code, you will get these pieces to make this class to go at home. So all the pieces that you get will be in these envelopes. So each envelope has enough pieces for one card, so you can do 2 each of 3 designs. And if your purchase is $50 or more, I'm going to throw in the ribbon duo for free. So this is just a bonus whenever your order reaches $50 or more and you use this host code right here by May 28th. I had to remember what my ending date was. So May 28th is the last day that you can order with this host code and get this class to go for free. Okay, so have you seen the Zany Zoo stamps yet? I love these. They're animals. They're animals doing fun people things, not animal things. I always think of, is it Sing? Is one of the the TV show, or not TV shows, it's a movie, it's a kids movie, but it's fun. And it's all animals doing fun things, and I think there's another one, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen those. But anyway, I always love these that are doing fun stuff. And this is one of those stamp sets that you can and will absolutely use every one of these stamps in this set. Sometimes you get a set and you're like, I don't know if I'll actually use all of those, but I love these, so I'm going to get it anyway. Not this one. This one you'll use every single one. Maybe not all on one card. Maybe you can do that. I don't know, but you'll definitely use them all. And you may do a scrapbook layout with all of these. Wouldn't this be fun for a little girl's ballet performance practice scrapbook layout, or just a trip to the zoo, or a birthday? There's so many things. This one always makes me think of babies and people knitting things for babies. I don't know. There's just a lot of fun. This guy, he makes me think of camping, and wouldn't that be a fun scrapbook layout to make? So I'm not doing scrapbook layouts though, just cards. I need to get back into scrapbooking one of these days. Okay, so you get the stamp set not as part of the class, but you'll need it if you want to make the class. But there's more in this Zoo Crew suite. You can also get the Zany Zoo dies, and they coordinate with all of the images. Plus you get some extra fun things like this banner tag thing, some balloons, flowers, little trees, a little stool to sit on the stage, and even curtains to make your stage. There's so much fun stuff in this, guys. And then I'm going to switch cameras now, because there's also designer series paper that coordinates with this set, and I love it so much. So each piece has one image that coordinates with a stamp and with a die. So you can use the die to line up right here and cut that out. And you can fussy cut around any of the other images on here if you would like to. And so the back of each of these is a black and white image, and I'll show you all of those in just a minute. But this sheet, it's the turtle. So there is a turtle stamp and a coordinating die. This one, it's the alligator. So there's an alligator stamp and a coordinating die. And for this one, it's that llama that I was showing you earlier. And this one is the skunk. And for some reason, I really wish there was a pig. I don't know why, but I really like that little backpacking pig. But there's not. But you can fuzzy cut him and add him to projects like that. And then this is the last image that has a stamp and a coordinating die. Aren't all these papers great? So, and you might notice some of the extra little elements on these pages. Sometimes that's what the black and white image on the back is. So these are all the black and white images. And then, of course, you could color in the little flowers. You could add color to any of the white spaces on these. There's a lot you can do with just black and white paper. Alright, so let's look at this first card we're going to make. And be sure to hang on till the end, because I have a couple of extra cards that I want to show you using this suite. And that I have made, and I've posted on my blog already this week, but there's also some that I got in a swap that other demonstrators have made, so I'd like to show you those as well. Alright, so like I said, your pieces come like this, and I'll have them labeled so you know which piece is, or which envelope is for which card. So all your pieces will be tucked away inside, ready to use. I don't include ribbon because if you place that $50 order, then you can get the ribbon. And you may not want this ribbon. You may already have ribbon at home that you would prefer to use. Okay, so the only ink that you need for all of these is the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I'm just inking on my alligator, and I'm going to place this right about right there. That's good. And what I'm using to color with, I have my blender pens, so I'm going to go ahead and pull one of those out. And then I have my watercolor pencils, and this is assortment 2. So I'm just going to pull those out and stick them right here where they're nice and easy to get to, and now everything is ready to color with. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of color to his eyes. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green to color this guy. Love how everything coordinates with Stampin' Up. Makes it really easy to color things and to just create. It just makes it so much easier when everything is already coordinating and you don't have to think about it. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get a little tired of making decisions. I get, my daughter calls it decision fatigue, and I know it's a thing. She's not the only person I've heard talk about that, and so I appreciate that I don't have to think so hard whenever I'm creating with Stampin' Up. It's just relaxing and fun. Alright, so of course I want pink flowers, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of that in there. I'm going to flip this over because on the back of this it tells you what all of the colors are, so you don't even have to guess there. You've got a little cheat sheet. So I'm using crushed curry for the basket. For the bicycle, purple is my favorite color, so I'm using Gorgeous Grape. You can use whatever your favorite color is. That's the other thing about this. Especially using the colors like this, you could use assortment 1 instead of assortment 2 if you prefer. But you can make everything be whatever color you like. You don't have to make it matchy-matchy with mine. So I think this is Night of Navy. Yes, I'm going to make my tires Night of Navy. The basic black is in assortment 1, not assortment 2, and I wanted to keep it to just one assortment. So I just decided my tires can be blue. And for my leaves on my flowers, I'm going to go with Garden Green. so it's a little different from my alligator or crocodile. I'm not sure. I can't really tell the difference in the picture. Okay, so now I'm going to go over everything with my blender pen, and I do recommend between color changes, go ahead and clean some of that color out of your blender pen. Just like the way the blender pen smooths out the color. And you can fill in any gaps that you had left when you were coloring with the watercolor pencil if you would like to. Okay, so I'm getting that green off. Then I'm going to do the flowers. I also like that you can use, so blender pens come in a set of 3, and they do have 2 tips for each pen, and they're just exactly the same. They will stain as you use them, but it doesn't affect the color as long as you keep cleaning them. And to clean them, it's just a quick few brushes on your grid paper or scratch paper, just until the color stops coming out of it. This is my second set of blender pens, but my first set lasted me, I think, over a decade. It lasted a long time. Sometimes I would use them a lot, and sometimes they would just sit on the shelf. Okay, last color, this little basket. So that's done. I do want to add a little bit more to this. So I'm going to take that garden green again. And, okay, y'all, I'm not an artist. Don't laugh at my methods here, but this is what I like to do. So I like to make some grass growing up, because grass grows up. And I'm not making it perfect. And then I'm going to go underneath that, and I'm going to go sideways. But then I'm going to go back with my blender pen, and y'all can do it however you want to. You don't have to be like me. But I'm going to go back over it, and I'm just going to go like this. So against the grain on the bottom part, I'm just kind of filling in some of the white places this way. And it just kind of, I feel like it brings it all together better. I should probably be asking my oldest daughter about this. She's an art major, and she might freak out completely if she saw me coloring like this and tell me I'm doing it the wrong way. We'll see. We'll see what she says later. Or I'll see. I may not tell you. Alright, so there's some more pieces to this one. I'm going to use the Happy Birthday stamp. Again, with just the Memento ink. And I'm stamping that in the center of this piece. Now, this piece is the only piece. Okay, these are from a cloud punch. It looks like this. It's a handy punch. And I thought about putting my sentiment inside one of the clouds, but I decided I wanted something else. So I used this little piece, and it's from All That Dies. And then I wanted to add a little bit more color to it. So I'm adding some Night of Navy just real lightly around the edge. And then I'll use my blender pen again to blend this out a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing around the edges of the clouds, just real lightly with the Balmy Blue. I do think that this card is probably the one that takes the most time out of the cards I'm going to be showing you today. It's not difficult, it's just you've got some coloring to do. The final card, super fast. Okay, so let's get that balmy blue and just barely color around the edges. I'm going to do both of them. It doesn't have to be perfect. I will be smoothing that out with my blender pen some. Okay, so there's my clouds. And now all my pieces are ready to assemble. So this piece, I know I showed you that wonderful Zany Zoo, or the Zoo Designer Series paper earlier, but this piece is from the Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper. See, it has daisies on the other side. But I just thought it went really well with this green and the grass, and so I decided to use that instead. So you can use whatever your favorite adhesive is. Mine is liquid glue, but you may prefer to use Stampin' Seal. Whatever makes you happy. Just going to put that on there. And then this one I'm going to put 1/2 inch or so from the bottom of the front of the card. I'm going to line it up with this edge that opens. And that right there, that's why I prefer liquid glues, because I was able to kind of move that over and get it straight. Can't really do that with the Stampin' Seal. Okay. Put him about there, I think. You don't want him too high because you need to leave room for those clouds. And so the clouds, I'm going to glue the bottom one down. And mostly I'm just gluing it right here on this part. I don't want it to have weird lumps in it. So I'm just going to put it right there. And then this one, I'm going to use dimensionals. So here's a tip. When you get to the end of your dimensionals, use your scissors to cut the rest of them, and you can use, or the edges, and you can use the edges. I like to use a lot of dimensionals, so I'll make sure I use every piece. There we go. And then this one, I'm going to use dimensionals again. And I'm just going to put them on the bottom. I hope that's the bottom. Yep, that's the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to put them on the bottom. Put that right about there, like so. And then that is our first card. Wow, I made a mess. Okay, so that is a fun one, and like I said, that one took the most time. The rest of these will not take nearly as much time as that one has taken. So I almost forgot a very important thing, and that is the inside piece. So for the inside piece, you could add a little bit of something to it. You could add another stamp or a piece of designer series paper, like just a strip on the edge, or you may just leave it blank, and that is what I'm going to do this time. I'm just going to leave it blank, and then I'll have the option to add something later on if I want to. For the envelope though, I don't want to leave the envelope blank, so I'm going to take that stamp and I'm going to stamp the alligator right in the back. On the front of the card. And then I'm going to use just that granny apple green and color just the alligator. Okay, I'm going to use the blender pen. And then we have the front of our card and our card. I love having coordinating envelopes. I said card twice instead of envelope, but you get my gist. Okay, so for this next card, this one, I promise you, it's not going to take nearly as long as that last one did. It's going to be super duper quick. So, let's start with the stamp. I was going to try to color, but I don't have anything to color, so let's start with the stamp. I'm going to stamping pretty close to the top here. And then I'm going to use that same happy birthday stamp, but this time I'm going to use a little post-it note, and I'm going to cover up the "to you" while I'm inking it. So I'm going to use my tuxedo black ink again. Now make sure you take that post-it note off and don't get any ink on your fingers, and then stamp that at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use Balmy Blue, and this time I'm just coloring the balloons. You can color as much or as little as you want, but I'm just doing the balloons. It's one reason why this one is so much quicker. So somewhere in here there's a cherry cobbler. There it is. Cherry cobbler does sound yummy, doesn't it? It's time for, I think it's time for me to eat. Okay, and then I want to add a little bit of color to this. So you could use a blending brush, so something like this, and use ink and add color that way. It's a really quick and easy way to do it, but you may not have that. And if you don't, you can still use the same things you've been using to add some color to your designer series paper. So I'm just very lightly going over this piece with Balmy Blue. He gets. So you can leave it just like that, or you can then take your blender pen and go over it, and it makes it a little bit darker, and again just blend some of that color. You want to be careful because this is wet and you don't want to get your paper too wet and have it start peeling up. So depending on how much color you lay on at the bottom with your pencil, will depend on how dark this gets. And of course, the more color you have on there, I think it's a little easier to blend it out or blend it together. So I might could have gone a little bit darker, but I like that effect. I didn't want it completely covered. I just wanted to give you a hint of color, an idea of how that works. Okay, so we're already ready to assemble. So first things first, let's take this DSP, add our adhesive to the back, we'll put it 3/4 of an inch to an inch from the bottom of this one, and then our stamped piece will go on this smaller black piece. Ooh. And then this piece goes right here. Just want to straighten that up some. Okay, and then this one goes on the front of the card. Okay, so on the front here, I'm going to add some dots. You can use whatever dots you want. You can skip the dots, but I'm going to use these tinsel gems. This is the 4-pack. The colors in this are not really matchy-matchy to the colors on here. They're Pretty Peacock, Blueberry Bushel, Berry Burst, and Lemon Lime Twist. But I think they're close enough. So I'm going to use these. I'm just going to put one here, one up here, one up here. Just for a little extra something. And then on the inside, I didn't get that quite straight, did I? So on the inside, I'm going to clean my stamp for just a little bit. And then I'm going to use, well, let's try that. It doesn't need to be wet when we're stamping. So I'm going to put a Post-it right by these balloons and over the tail. Oop, I'm going to tear this one. So I'm going to put one just like that and like that. Going to ink it up, remove the Post-its, and then I'm going to stamp these up here in the corner. And then I'll use those same colors to color the balloons on the inside. Then go over them again with the blender pen. So I didn't clean it between greens that time, and it just kind of blended the greens together, so not a problem. I think that it's okay every once in a while when you're using kind of the same color scheme and going from lighter to darker. This piece goes right here. Then on the envelope, I'm going to cover those back up. Let's see if I can do do it without getting ink all over myself. And I'm going to add them one more time. Okay, and then color them one more time. Okay, so there is our second card with coordinating envelope. And this third card, I'm going to show you another way to do this one. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you, I'm not making sense. Okay, so I've cut 4x4 pieces of this designer series paper, and the only stamping that's going on this one, I'm going to grab that happy birthday stamp again. I'm going to stamp it right here. Then I'm going to use the music notes. I just want this one note there. And then I'm going to use, let's see. So it kind of depends on where you stamp your happy birthday, like how low you stamp it. But that's where I'm putting my music notes for this one. So you have a choice. You can either put your designer series paper up towards the top of your other sheet and put the banner up here like so. Put it towards the bottom and put your banner up here like so and cover that up. Or you can put it towards the top. So before you put anything together, you want to decide, do you want your little banner to be towards the bottom, or do you want it to be towards the top? I think I'm going to go with the top on this one. I'm going to cover up those frog legs. Okay. So you can put it anywhere, I would say up to a quarter of an inch from the bottom. I'm not going to do it quite that far from the bottom. Close. Well, maybe right at. Maybe a little bit less. But I wouldn't go much more than that from whichever end you decide to do it on. And then I'm going to grab that ribbon, and I'm using both colors of ribbon. And I'm going to cut out, I'll probably about 5 1/4 to 5.5 inches of ribbon. I'm going to start with the wider pink ribbon, and I'm going to put 2 glue dots on the back of this ribbon. And if you're worried about it staying, you can put 2 on each end. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I think it'll stay just fine. And for the thinner ribbon, I'm for sure just going to use 1 on each end, but this thicker one, just to be sure it stays put, I'm going to go ahead and add an extra glue dot. So I'm just going to place this right here and cover up where the designer series paper and the cardstock come together. Just going to cover that up, kind of make it straight. And then you could also, if you have a take your pick tool, add 1 more little glue dot underneath where you're going to have your banner, because it's going to cover up that little lump anyway. So then I'm going to do it again with this one, and like I said, this one I'm pretty confident that this one glue dot is going to do great on each end holding this in place. Okay, so there is that, and then I'm going to use my dimensionals again to place this banner. And what I'm going to do is put one down here in the corners and one across the top, and that way I won't have any weird lumps from a dimensional being right across my ribbon. So I'll have this nice empty space. I'm just going to put that right there. I almost messed up. So in order to keep it from being lumpy from having this ribbon here, I'm going to use dimensionals all across the back of this. I tossed that like I was done with it, but I'm not done with it. I want more. See, I said earlier, I like to use a lot of dimensionals, so this is why I make sure that I use every bit that's on my sheet. Okay. I feel like I did that crooked. There we go. Okay, so for the inside of this one, you could add a strip of the designer series paper if you had that. You could add just a piece of the coordinating cardstock, like a thin strip of it. You could do what I'm going to do and add some music notes. So you could add them going up the side or across the top or across the bottom or just kind of willy-nilly. Okay, and then you can do the same thing on the envelope. I've got a little bit of ink on my envelope, but I have a trick to get that off, so I'll do that later. I guess you might want to know my trick. So you can get these erasers. This is a Tombow sand eraser for ink, and you want to be careful with it because it does kind of rough up your paper. When you have just a light little bit of ink, they're really good at getting that off. Okay, now you know my secret. Okay. Let's go ahead and add just a few more on the front. Because why not? It's such a small stamp. So there is our quickest card. But none of these were too bad. I think they're all pretty simple. fun little cards that anybody can make. So, do you want to see some more? Let me clear off my area. So the other way that I was showing you that, or trying to explain to you that you could make this one, is you could lower it like that. And you will get different colors. Some of them will be green and blue, and some of them will be, well, I say green and blue. This is Lemon Lime Twist and Pool Party, and this is Pool Party and Pumpkin Pie. So, you'll probably get one of each whenever you get your kit. And then some other cards that I have made. So I made this one and posted it to my blog the other day. The pictures were not so great on it, but it's a really cute card, I think. Another simple one. So what I did when I first got this stamp set, I had been sick and was totally out of my creative groove. So I just stamped a bunch of the images and colored them with blending pens and or Stampin' blends. And then I used the die cut to cut them out, and then I came back a few days later and actually put the cards together. Because when I was coloring, I just wanted to relax. I wanted to create, but I just wasn't there yet. Okay, so this next card, this was created by Michelle Barnes. She is a demonstrator. I was going to tell you where, but I'm not sure where. But isn't that cute? She used some of the new, I believe it's Bright and Beautiful. Sure is. The Bright and Beautiful Designer Series paper. And she used the Basics embossing folders with that as well. So that's a fun one. I love this one. This one uses the new Countryside Inn die and stamp. And then you've got the Zany Zoo alligator. And didn't she do a great job of coloring that? So that's a fun one as well. And this was created by Luli Gonzalez. This one is a fun fold. I love this. This is one of my favorite kind of fun folds because it's simple and fun. So this is a great one to use. So she used the, can't remember, it's the music note embossing folder right here, which is great because it goes along with the music notes. So, and she did the same thing that I did. She used the banner and she used that DSP as the focal of her card. So super easy, super fun card. And this is by Michelle Hornback. She's a demonstrator in Kentucky. And this final card, this one again uses the skunk, and look, it uses the tree dies as well. This is such a great card. And she just tore her garden green cardstock here to make the mountains. This is by Kate Fopma. And there's a little bit of dimension with that. So I hope that you were inspired by these cards with the Zany Zoo stamp set and that you are ready to create some cards of your own. If you would like to do the ones that I showed you in this tutorial, then just place an order using this, this host code by May 28th. Your order needs to be a minimum of $35, and remember, if you order a minimum of $50, of course that's pre-tax and shipping, you'll also get the ribbon duo. Alright, y'all have a great weekend. Happy stamping.